Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Perry Johnson Photography. On today's show, I'll be interviewing Ron Proulx. Ron's company Arpix Media specializes in music licensing for television and film. He also represents a number of artists as well and is quite a prolific artist himself. One of the many things that I admire about Ron is his ability to incorporate found shapes into his work, many of which he edits right on his device. We get together quite regularly when he's in town and discuss all things life, love, and art. If you are interested in seeing more of my interviews with artists and the portraits of those artists that I take, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. So without further ado, here's my interview with Ron Proulx. So you grew up as a musician. Do you come from a family of artists?
I do. My mom was a painter and an art dealer.
When you were growing up, did your family have discussions on art? Like
always, yeah, but less about why blue is nicer than yellow. More why that painting was sold for $1,200 or $3,400 today.
So the business of it.
Yeah. My mom, the big joke was that my mom sold $8,000 worth of art this afternoon and made more money than my father did in the whole week. It was a hoot. So I grew up in this environment where art had a price. And I'm not intimidated by that. Every painting has a price, even if it's $1. Doesn't matter to me.
Well, not only that, but that it had value.
Absolutely.
And that must...
Perceived value.
Perceived value.
How much is it worth?
Right.
It's worth exactly as much as the person's willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
So what do you think drives that? The perception of value in art? Is it an emotional thing?
First of all, I think there's a lot of bullshit in art. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of manipulation, no different than the stock market. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of fraud in the art business, and I learned that from my mom. People like to think they're getting something that goes up in value. I mean, people are always looking for a bargain. You could put it on your wall and look at it. That's a beautiful thing about art you can't do with stocks, okay? With real estate, you can walk on the ground that you so-called own, okay? You can't do it with stocks. You can't do it with bonds. Money is inanimate. But a painting you can put on your wall.
Does art imitate life or the other way around?
Oh, man. Probably both. I mean, I've seen moments in life where I go, you couldn't write this.
Yeah.
Well, you and I drove today or yesterday, whatever it was, and there's a bird that flew in front of our car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you'd spend $1 million making that work.
Right.
And the bird just did it.
Yeah.
It didn't even think.
Yeah.
Didn't need to be paid. It just tracked our journey. So I find things happen. I often say you couldn't write that. People wouldn't believe you if that happened, but it happened, right? I think that's one of the points of Magnolia, the film, is that it really does happen. Things do happen. It's not strange that it happens. It won't happen often, but it's very normal that this thing happens. Frogs fall from the sky. Yeah. It happens. Right. Get over it, right? Rather than, that never happens.
When you're creating, do you have a ritual that you go into? Does it just come to you? Like, do you sit down one day and go, I'm going to create something? Or is it...
Boy, the biggest thing is not creating. There's a National Film Board film, Getting Started.
Yeah.
And the guy's practicing. It's an animation. He's practicing to do a concert. And he does everything in his power not to practice.
Right.
He finds the creak in the piano stool. He feeds the cat. He rubs the cat's tummy. It's like, I wish that I read that Paul Simon writes every day.
Yeah.
Stephen King, it's 5,000 words a day. These guys have rituals that they do.
Stephen Pressfield is the War of Art.
Yeah, okay.
He sits down every day. And
there you go.
It's a job.
And I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm trying to capture things because I do believe things come to us. Why they come to us is just timing. I see a woman in a red hat, and all of a sudden I've got a whole thing about the red hat. Well, many, many times I've thought, I'll remember. I'm like, there's no way I'll remember. I've got no room in my brain. So now I, fortunately, use my iPhone and I record it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll come back to it maybe. So I got tons of these things. Whether I ever come back to it or not, I don't know.
How would you advise the business of being an artist?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Just last night I had a meeting with an artist, with a visual artist. And I'm sensitive for their sake that artists are not wanting to talk about their work like any other commodity or something. It's like very precious to them. I recognize that. Well, first of all, I think the goal of an artist, sadly, just like a musician, I think part of it is to be popular. If not by popular, I don't mean that the whole world needs to like love you. But if you're really going to do your art, I think part of it is that you should share it, and you should be sharing it because people like it. My mom used to say it didn't sell for $2,500. Let's change the price, and I'd go, to what price? She'd go, $4,000, and she'd change it more expensive. So it was funny, and it worked. I saw it work so many times. Keep working, keep learning. I think too few artists go for the fences.
What do you mean by that?
Go right to the edge. Like if you're in your comfort zone, it's too easy. You should get out of your comfort zone.
If you're interested in seeing more of my interviews with artists, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Perry Johnson Photography. Thanks for watching.